Listen to this article. After a 1HR for 5 minutes delay due to lightning in the area, the race was launched, and despite the wet patches around the track, all cars began with dry tires, with the first 5 in alternatives, but Josef Newgarden, and will with primary compound rubber. However, more rain is sprayed, fortunately without bringing more rays. The initial beginning saw Scott McLaughlin convert the pole position into the head, but Romain Grosjean's efforts to get behind him squeezed Christian Lundgaard on the wall, forcing him to lose impulse and allow Palou around his outside to become the shift 9. Behind them, Pato O'Ward ran in 5th place, but David Malukas in alternative tires had no problem moving to Newgarden in the primary, and 2 laps later, Simon Pagenaud did the same for Power for the same reason. Andretti Autosport saw Colton Herta not to complete an external pass in the AJ Foyt Racing-Chevy by Dalton Kellett and finding the wall of the tires, which requires a box's stop for a new front wing. The teammate Alexander Rossi, who also begins artificially far behind, also faced, but to get out of his alternatives to primary tires. In the front, McLaughlin went on a turn of 1.4 seconds on Grosjean, with Palou following the Andretti car from a similar distance, but under the pressure from Lundgaard. O'Ward ran 5th ahead of Malukas, Newgarden, Pagenaud, Power and Graham Rahal. In the 11th, Scott Dixon was in the 14th of the network, but his teammate Marcus Ericsson had lost ground thanks to a penalty for jumping the beginning. The first caution came out on Vuelta 8, since Rossi ran a lot, and then stopped in turn 10. He was beaten, but like his team partner Herta, he was now a back down. Therefore, he took the opportunity to face again, as well as Helio Castroneves and Jimmie Johnson. The race resumed in Tour 11, and O'Ward approached Lundgaard for the room, while Newgarden, Pagenaud and Power degraded Malukas to the 9th, and Rinus Veekay placed his Carpenter of Ed Carpenter Chevy ahead of Dixon. On Tour 13, Lundgaard made an excellent movement around O'Ward's exterior, after overcoming the Amsp driver in Curve 4 and recovering room. Rahal went to Malukas for 9th in Tour 17, perhaps pointing out the beginning of the alternative tires that began to sound, and the Coyne driver would continue to fall until they faced the primaries. On lap 18, Newgarden grabbed the 5th from O'Ward, while Pagenaud got into the wells to get off his alternatives to the primary, allowing the Power to close on O'Ward. Not wanting to stay stranded if a caution flies, Palou Pit.